Hi everyone! Today I wanted to talk about tropes, and my favorite trope, the hate to love in romances. So I love reading romances, and the hate to love is one of my favorite tropes. Out of all the tropes, I think it's the one where you can see the characters change the most, and it just leaves room for a lot of humor. So I think that's kind of why I like it. So I'm gonna share with you about 8 books of my favorite hate to love books, and they're kind of a hodgepodge. Some classics, some YA, some contemporary. So yeah, so here are my favorite ones. And the first one is the book that started it all for hate to love, Pride and Prejudice. So it's one of my favorite books, and this is a book where you just see a lot of humor in the hate to love trope. Um, where Mr. Darcy is, she's not handsome enough to tempt me, and Lizzie's like, you're the last man in the world I could be prevailed upon to marry. So, just things like that. The story of Lizzie Bennet, her sisters, they're 18th century England, trying to find husbands, and it's just a classic and probably one of my favorite books. So, Pride and Prejudice. The next one is another classic, and I never really thought of it as like the hate to love, but I definitely kind of put it in that category now. But it's Anne of Green Gables, with Anne and Gilbert. There's the first iconic scene where Gilbert at school calls her carrots, and she gets so upset that he calls her that, and she breaks her slate over his head, and I think the book says that she didn't talk to him for just like so long, and they were able to get over that and fall in love. So I really like that, and I think even in the movies, it's one of my favorite parts of the movies. So the first book in the Anne of Green Gables series for Anne and Gilbert. The next couple are a couple of YA. When Dimple Met Rishi by Sandra Manon. This is a story about a girl. She's very techy. She goes to a conference, but unbeknownst to her, her parents also send someone who they want her to get married to, and they meet, and they do not like each other before they even know that their parents set them up. So the back of the book has this hilarious picture. And they're put together on a project, and they get to know each other. But this also has a lot of humor, but they just don't like each other, and then they fall in love. So I like that one. Another YA book. This is probably one of my favorite YA books for the hate to love is PSI Like You by Casey West. This is a story about a girl named Lily. She kind of goes to her own beat at school, and one day she writes down some song lyrics from this obscure band that she likes, and the next day someone has finished the lyrics, and she's like, oh, there's someone who knows about it, and she's trying to figure out who it is, and she doesn't realize that it's the guy that she really, really dislikes at school. And then they get to know each other, and they fall in love. So this is just a very, very cute book. It's kind of a going back to school book, but just hate to love. Just really funny, really cute. And the last YA book I have is My Lady Jane, by Cynthia Han, Bodhi Ashton, and Jodi Meadows. This is a story. It kind of retells the history of Lady Jane Grey, and part of the book focuses on Lady Jane Grey's relationship with her husband, Guilford, or G in the book, and they are forced to marry, they don't like each other, and then they fall in love, which is you kind of hope that happened in real life. But yeah, so this was a very, not only is it funny, but it kind of just also brings history into it too. So I really like this one. The next two books are adult contemporary. The first one is Well Met by Jen DeLuca. This is a story about a girl named Emily, and she's going back to her old small town, and she gets involved in the Renaissance Fair at the town. And there's a guy named Simon who is in charge of the fair, and he's just very stiff upper lip, and Emily's more of the carefree spirit, and they just butt heads, don't like each other at first, and then they start to understand each other, and they fall in love. I really like this one because there are so many just references to like classic literature and nerd fandom throughout the book that I just really, really, really liked it. So I had to add that book here. So, Well Met by Jen DeLuca. And the last book, adult contemporary, The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. This is a story, two people, they work at the same company, they're both up for the same promotion, they hate each other, and they keep trying to up one each other for this promotion. It's funny, and it just made me laugh a lot, but it also made me laugh a lot, but it also just kind of brought in the humor and just the background of like Office. So there is that one. So those are my favorite hate to love romances, which is my favorite trope. Which tropes do you like, and which hate to love romances do you like that I should have put on this list? Because I would definitely like to know. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks, bye.